So we're gonna go over order blocks first, and then I'm gonna dive. We'll literally review my trade from today. We're gonna watch it because again, my live trades are on YouTube until the end of 2025. We're gonna go watch back my trade, understand why I took my trade, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and get started. So, what are order blocks? Well, first thing I want to do is we've gone over every confluence that we've had so far in the playbook. Let me go ahead and share the playbook for you guys. Let me go ahead and, this is like just a perfect way to show you guys exactly what the order block is. What is an order block? Well, it is essentially two candles next to each other that are of opposite color. So right here, this right here would be your order block. Two candles next to each other. This is the main setup I use all the time, but two candles next to each other is a order block. So literally it can be to the upside, downside, whatever it may be is an order block. So I mean, I'm on the 30-second chart. It's really easy to spot order blocks on the 30-second chart, but look, we're literally forming one right. Okay, well, this is actually a great entry, honestly. If I were to trade, I would trade this hypothetically. I'm literally just going to put in a hypothetical trade right here. Wait, let's give it 10 seconds. This closes strongly. This would be a great trade. You literally just take break even up to the 4 hour. Essentially, what is an order block? It is two candles that form next to each other that are of opposite color. So right here, this is a whole order block. All of this would be an order block. As you see, trade is working out perfectly. This is an order block. This is an order block. This is an order block. Literally just two candles next to each other of opposite color. It literally looks like a block, right? Order block right here. Order block right here. They form all the time. I mean, that's just the 30-second time frame, right? But I'll tell you right now, guaranteed this whole section right here, right, is going to be an order block on the higher time frame. So let's go ahead and kind of just scarf through time frames and see what happens with this block, right? Okay, 5 minute, boom. This is an order block. 15 minute, boom. Order block. 1 hour, not really order block, but coming all the way down to 15 minute. This is an order block. 5 minute is perfect. 10 minute looks amazing. That is an order block. Look how many order blocks we have, right? I can't find more and more order block, order block, order block. I mean, it sounds so stupid to say order block, but it literally, they form all the time. They are in the market all the time, right? So how do I use these order blocks? Well, very simple. Essentially, you can use them in two different ways, right? You can use them for a trade and you can use them for targets, but I mainly use them for targets. So let's say on the 1 hour time frame, right? If I'm looking, yes, you may be marking out this liquidity and saying, okay, I want this as my target, right? This is what you want as your target. But in reality, hold on, let me share like the actual screen for all you guys. In reality, yes, it could push all the way up there, but your safest bet is going to just be take this trade right here. Take it to the order block, catch a trade there, and call it for the day there. No need to push anything. No need to rush anything. You don't need to try and call this whole move. Literally just catch the trade to the order block as your target, and that is a perfect trade. Say if we're going to the downside, well, what could you say? Okay, you could say I want to then take out this order block before moving higher, or I want to take out this order block before moving higher. A lot of the times, if I'm targeting higher time frame moves, I'm going to target the order block rather than the wick on liquidity, because a lot of the times, right, what are we going to do? So on an order block, there are two sides to it, right? This is a perfect example. There's the top and the bottom. As you see here, what do we have? If we marked it out with a box, you have your top and you have your bottom, right? If you guys know Powell, this is kind of like how he top ticks and bottom ticks. Essentially, he gets an order block, sets a limit order at 50% of the order block, and essentially takes his trade. Okay, that is the simplest way to take his trade, right? Is essentially just targets order blocks, because a lot of the times, right, these order blocks, they're going to get tapped into, but it's not going to actually take the liquidity. So literally, as you see here, what does price do? It taps into the top of the order block, and what do we do? Well, literally in the trade I guess I caught today, I didn't even really recognize this. Actually, no, I think I did mark this out. We're looking back all the way in the footage, but essentially what happens, we tap into the order block, only the top of it, and if you look at this candle directly right here, what happens? We hit the order block and immediately push up. And that, yes, it can be a form of liquidity, but I think of it as, okay, if an order block, essentially it's in the name, it's a whole bunch of orders together, right? We have orders coming down, orders going up, so it's a lot of people indifferent about the market. That is still liquidity. That is still the market coming in, taking out some orders, whether it's all the order block or some of the orders, and then pushing higher, and that's exactly what we did here. Another example here, right? This is an order block. It's not as like big and as like obvious as this one, but what do we have right here? Another order block. What do we see price do exactly? If you wanted to top tick this, you could have marked out this order block, put a limit order at the 50%. What do we see price do? Taps in exactly to that 50%, and as you see, absolutely crashes immediately from that. When I first learned about order blocks, I was taught that it's the last candle of the wick in the opposite direction. I think it's way more simpler than that. It's literally just two candles of the opposite color is an order block, and that's how I think about it. And then there's two parts of the order block, right? So if we take this as an example, we have an order block here, okay? People are like, well, like, what do you take, the bottom or the top of the order block? If I'm targeting the upside move, if I'm looking for price to go here, I don't want to try and call the top of the order block. I'm just going to take the lowest part of the order block, and that'll be my trade. Just take this up to here. Okay, well, not there. Take it up to the top or the bottom of the order block and call your trade there. If you are targeting an order block, because most of the time, if genuinely price wants to keep going lower, we're just going to tap into maybe the bottom of the order block and then keep pushing lower. The probabilities of us going all the way through would most likely mean that then we're going to try and take out an area of liquidity up here, or maybe even this, or so on and so forth, right? So your safest bet if you are targeting an order block is, again, just take out that bottom part and catch your move there. No need to try and push it. So let me find another example for you guys. I'll then show you guys how to use it in a trade. But here, what do we have here? Order block gets formed. What do we see price do? Taps into it 50% and continues to retrace. This would be an example of like how, right, we come to the lowest part of the order block, as you see there, and what do? Price continues to move lower, taking out liquidity and continuing to push lower. I think it's a very general understanding that just essentially, like, this would be one massive order block, even though there's a whole bunch in here. If it's just one color, this whole thing is going to be your order block. And mark it out with the idea of the candles, not the wicks. The wicks are not going to show you the order block. The candles are going to show you the order block. What do we see price does? Well, it retraces out of the order block, comes back in, taps into the order block, and continues to absolutely crash lower and lower and lower. Let me find another example for you guys, right? That one doesn't work too well. Okay, well, this one you literally could have top ticked, right? Okay, this whole thing, yes, there's like, you could say this is your order block, but realistically, from the start of when it starts changing colors and we start mashing around in different colors, this could be your whole order block. What do we see price does? If you caught this long right here, you could have top ticked almost this long, right? You literally could have caught this trade. Say you entered on this candle. You could have said, okay, I want this to just go to the bottom of the order block, and boom, you would have literally been out by 1 point, and price would have maybe gone to your break even or whatever, versus if you were then targeting all the way to the top. Well, yes, obviously it hits, but as you see, another example of when it hits the top, it's most likely going to keep running to the next, like the wick or so on and so forth, right? I mainly use 4-hour order blocks. I think they're the most effective. 1 hours are very good as well, but I personally like the 4 hours the best, because look, another example here, right? We have boom, order block right here. We also have the order block up here. Like, this kind of is all one order block. What do we see price does exactly? It sweeps below that order block, also takes liquidity, and immediately rejects out of it, pushing higher. Bro, I got distracted for like 30 seconds. No, I haven't gone over the trade example yet. Don't worry. I'll be going over that soon. But this is just how I use it for targets. I think it's mainly most effective in targets. I think targeting order blocks is your best bet, versus rather than using it in a trade. But I'll now show you guys how to use it in a trade. So I personally like it on the 30-second the most. Let's go to my entries today. We didn't really get anything out of an order block, right? But the best way to go about it, right, is, okay, say, for example, we get the beautiful setup, right? We get a rejection off fair value gap, inverse this gap, and then before we inverse, right, if we don't get a CISD, all we have to do is wait for after the inverse, get your order block, so I'll make it a different color, get your order block here, right, and then wait for the CISD. So say we got a blue candle, black candle, and then a blue candle makes your CISD out of the order block. That is a perfect trade. That is basically to the T of what I would want. Obviously, we haven't gone over SMTs, but even if it's like an SMT is here, that would be the most ideal and A+ trade that you can possibly get, because we have how many confluences? We have rejection off fair value gap, SMT, inverse fair value gap, order block, and CIST. That's fair value gap, inverse, SMT, order block, CIST. That is 5 confluences within one trade. That is literally as high probability as you could possibly get. If the fail trades on 5 confluences, then it just is what it is. You have to be like, you can be so content if you fail on 5 confluences because you have 5 freaking confluences. Like, there's literally, you can't stack it more than that. That's why the model is so damn good, because you have 5 freaking things that are telling you where price is going to go and how it's going to go there. And like, yeah, if it goes against your favor, it just is what it is. Obviously, if you kind of dense that down to, oh, well, I just have an inverse and a rejection on fair value gap, well, that's only 2 confluences, and you're kind of, maybe you're a little on edge. You don't know if like it's going to work, and then it goes against your favor, and you're like, well, shoot, I didn't have all the confluences. If you got 5 freaking confluences, some people literally enter a trade off of 1 confluence and think they're doing the right thing, right? I go 5 times further than that. I wait for 5 confluences, not all the time. Obviously, if some things are just like, for example, today it was just obvious. I didn't have the order block. I did have an SMT. I only had an inverse as well. I didn't wait for the rejection. So that's only like 3 confluences, but that's kind of where you go into the ranking system, right? There, like, if it's 5 confluences, that's A++. That is as good as it's gonna get. If you have 4 confluences, maybe that's a B+. If you have 3 confluences, I'd still say that's a B. If you have 2, maybe you're pushing into the C's. And then if you have 1 confluence, you're freaking failing the test. I don't care if that is not what you want to ever do. Obviously, it can work sometimes, but that is not what you want to do, right? You want to wait for as many confluences as possible, and this is quite literally maxing out all the I got the hiccups. This is maxing out all the max confluences you could possibly have, and that's how you can use it in trades. So, for example, let's find something here. Okay, perfect, right? What do we have here? It's kind of like small, right? But this just goes to show I can spot my setup within literally seconds just looking at the chart. Okay, what do we have? We have fair value gap gets formed. We inverse that fair value gap. What happens here? It's small, but it's still a gap. We have then a regular fair value gap. So we're inversing a gap, rejecting off the fair value gap. What do we have right here? This is your order block. Boom, right there. What do we get out of that order block? A CISD. And immediately, I mean, obviously this would kind of be unfortunate. You can't really get the best trade here, but you could enter off of this trade targeting this order block or even this liquidity. And what do you see happens? We freaking smash TP just like that. And maybe there was a target all the way down here that you could have been targeting, so on and so forth. But that just goes to show I can literally spot my damn setup literally within seconds. And that is how you can use it, right? It is very simple, but at the same time, it works so damn effectively. I can find another example for you guys, right? Okay, what do we have here? We're not really rejecting off fair value gap here, but this is then going down into like the lower setup. But what do we have? We have, okay, it's obvious that price is coming here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but obviously, and price is obviously already there, but it's very obvious that price is trickling up towards something up here. What do we have? Price rejects. We have fair value gap. What do we see right here? Order block. Within that order block, we inverse the fair value gap. Off of this trade, you could have just taken the trade right here. You could have just said, okay, we inverse the gap. Technically, we got a CISD out of this range because it closed above this wick. So you could have entered on that, or you could be even more precautious, take this trade and literally catch like a 0.5R, obviously, but like that's not what you want to do. But that's still the exact setup right there. You're waiting for the inverse, you get the order block, whether it's in the inverse or after, and then you get the CISD out of the order block, and that is your perfect trade. Let's see another example. I mean, this is a good example as well. Obviously, you'd be entering all the way up here, not the best. But I mean, these are happening all the time, over and over and over, all the freaking time. And it's literally like, I mean, it's as good as it gets. Probably on the 1 minute, this would probably be a setup, right? So this comes with like aligning time frames. So what do we have here? Okay, this actually wouldn't be the best setup. But like, say we have a 1 minute gap, right? Say on the 1 minute time frame, we have the 1 minute and the 30-second. Okay, right? 1 minute is going here, here, and we finally inverse the gap. The 30-second is here, here, and we're on the 1 minute, so it's already inversed the gap. And then on the 30-second, say we've already inversed that gap, we then get the order block, and then we get the CISD out of the order block on the 30-second, even though the 1 minute's already inversed. That would be all you need to see, even if there's not even a gap on the 30-second. Since we inversed on the 1 minute, got the order block and the CISD on the 30-second, that's a great way to take a trade. In the recent PA, how do you know which order block is the best to target, or do you just take the trade off of seeing, as there's so many? Well, I mean, it's more of like liquidity based, right? So if we go to the 4 hour, it's kind of just like, you don't just take like a random order block, like you kind of follow the trend, right? So if the trend is obviously to the downside here, But obviously if we start reversing, then I'm just going to take the first order block I see. Boom, this is the first order block I see. I'll take my trade up to here or even up to here, although this has already been taken, so more likely I'd want to target up to here. That's if the trend is reversed. But if we go back in time, say price is here, we obviously know we're going down. Obviously, maybe wait for this gap to get inversed or to reject out of. Then essentially all you can do is just target the first order block. Okay, I can just target this order block right here. First one, or you could even try and push lower. You could target this one. Or if you think price is going to keep skyrocketing down, target this one, right? Just take the first order block you see, and that's all you need to target. The 4 hour is going to be your best bet just because it's the most, like, it tells the biggest story, tells where the bias is, tells a lot of things. So the 4 hour is going to be your best bet. Then if you come down even to the 1 hour, I mean, the 1 hour is also aligned with the 4 hour. So it's kind of just, if you're in like the higher time frame, just take the first order block. Like for example, if we inverse this gap, what am I going to say? Okay, we could probably go to this order block, take this low right here, and keep pushing. Or we could even target this order block, only if we inverse this gap, obviously. Obviously, you guys know price keeps trickling down, but you could just say the first order block is the one I want, and that's essentially the one that I'll target. Because yes, you're right, there are so many, like there's order blocks up here, so on and so forth. But again, if you go from the 1 hour to the 4 hour, this whole section right here is going to get condensed probably into, yeah, just one massive order block, where essentially you can target. But that's how I use order blocks. Going back to the playbook. Let's see here. Going back to the playbook, as you see, what is like my favorite setup? My favorite setup is right here, because what do we have? Inverse. Order block gets formed, CISD out of the order block, then target this as your take or break even and keep pushing higher. So that is literally, that's my favorite one right there. And then this one, what do we have as well? Well, you have this one you don't want to run actually, but if you were like taking this trade, you can just target, you can even just target the order block as your break even point, and get out there as soon as possible. So that's how I use it. It's very simple. It's really self-explanatory. Order blocks are not that deep. Don't overthink them. It's literally as simple as just two colors of the opposite color or opposite candle are going to make up your order blocks, and do you very well. Do you guys have questions about that? So you'd base the order blocks is better. So you'd say the base of the order block is better. Yeah, so always take the base of the order block, whether that be to the upside, like if we have order block here, right? Price is coming down and it starts going up. Always take the low of the order block, and then obviously vice versa if we're going to the downside. Just because it's not always guaranteed that we're going to go to 50%. There's a lot of times where we just tap the bottom and then keep trickling down, right? Or then if we're going to the downside, we have order block here going up and we start coming down. Just take the base of the order block and target that, and no need to target any lower. So those are the two examples essentially. I do not trade with limit orders just because CISDs are my main, like they're my final confluence. Once I see a CISD, I'm in. I just don't believe in limit orders. Like, yes, they work for a lot of people. People have a lot of success with them. But it's kind of the probability based. Like, who's to say that if you're placing a limit order at, let's say, for example, you want to place a limit order. Let's say you want to place your limit order here, right, at the bottom of the order block. Well, who's to say we're not going to run to the high of the order block and keep pushing through to maybe like liquidity up here, right? It's just in my opinion, it's not as smart as just waiting to catch the momentum and just catch the trade with the rest of the people who are taking the trade. I think trying to set your limit orders is just going to possibly screw you over. Unless you're very, very clear on the bias, then yeah, maybe go for it. But I think just catching the trade as it's supposed to be is the best way to go about it. But don't get me wrong, limit orders are amazing for people to use them, but I just personally don't like to use them. Y'all got any more questions or anything? All good. All right, well, that's order blocks. Again, keep it very simple. It's literally just 2 candles of the opposite sex or opposite color that are next to each other, and that is an order block. And then again, remember, if you see kind of just like on the 1 minute, if you just see kind of like a range, right? If we're just ranging like this, like up, down, up, down, up, down, go to the 10 minute, go to the 5 minute, go to the 15 minute, go to the 1 hour. And I guarantee this will condense all into one candle to make one order block. And that's basically about it. And then if you're using it for trading, just wait for the other confluences and then let the order block and the CISD be a pair together. And if you get both of those after getting the other confluences, then you're good to take a trade. All right. Well, with that being said, if you guys don't have any questions, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys tomorrow, and we'll be on. Let's see what we got tomorrow. I think tomorrow's kind of a psychology lesson. So yeah, we'll be going over understanding body closes and understanding traps within the market, and just kind of going further into. It'll just be mainly psychology, essentially. Yep. All right. Well, boys, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Take it easy. Go to the gym. Go do something difficult for the rest of the day. Go push yourself. Become a better man. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Deuce, everybody.